Though the Earth's diameter has remained unchanged for thousands of years, it feels as if the world is shrinking thanks to the power of technology. In today's world, we're able to connect with colleagues all over simply from a few clicks of the mouse and from the comfort of our own homes. But this gift, this power of technology, has elevated a nuance in the workplace. Working together, collaborating with, and learning from individuals from different cultures. So how do we best and most effectively connect and collaborate with those from cultures different from our own? This can be both exciting and maybe a bit daunting. So let's talk about it. In this video, you're going to learn 4 actions to nurture and effectively work with colleagues from cultures different than your own. Actions I've personally seen been effective in nurturing healthy and meaningful connection with individuals a part of cultures vastly different from your own. Action number 1, identify and lean on mutual values. Understand where mutual values lie between yourself and your colleagues. Not only those values that you both believe in as it relates to your company's purpose and values, but also what you share as an individual. From your family, from sports, from hobbies, what you love to do, what you love to eat. Explore and get curious about what those values might be for those individuals. And then strive to find that common ground. You know, it actually reminds me of some work that we're doing with a large pharmaceutical organization in the Asian region at my firm, Change Enthusiasm Global. And our cultures couldn't be more different, right? I'm from Atlanta, Georgia in the States, and I'm working across cultures in Japan, in Australia, in India. And so there's a lot of different cultural dynamics, but what we have come to value is the importance of resiliency in the workplace. And they're going through a really major transformation. And so we're able to align on the value of recognizing emotion and acknowledging that emotion going through the workforce, and then leveraging that to nurture resilience. And so we're able to rest in that same lane, valuing the power of resiliency, the resilience of humanity. And that's just one way that helps bring us together and really helps improve that whole relationship that I have with that client in Asia. We also have some very shared values in Asian cuisine. And so we like to talk about the different dishes that we like from different areas around Asia. So that's another way for us to connect and bond. So strive to find that same thing with individuals that you work with from very different cultures. There are probably more similarities that you have versus differences. Action number 2, acknowledge barriers. As the foundation of your working relationship is being built, make sure that you make an effort to understand and even foresee what those barriers could be to a meaningful and healthy connection with those colleagues. Examples of this might look like language, it might look like time zone, and honestly, it reminds me whenever I'm doing either keynote engagements or consulting relationships with clients outside of a culture from my own, oftentimes I have to think about humor and how that might be a little bit different. Mnemonics that I use for memorization, something that might be very relevant in the States, could be very different in other cultures. So strive to understand what could those potential barriers be to us having a very healthy, well-connected, meaningful relationship. By the way, if you're getting value from this, make sure that you subscribe, click the notification. I do videos like this all the time, striving to deliver you value on a daily basis. So make sure you click subscribe so you're sure to get the latest video when it drops. All right, let's get back into it. Action number 3, collaborate to find strategies to effectively overcome those barriers. For example, if one of the barriers that you've identified is time zone, make sure that you're working with every individual in the team to identify a time of day for your weekly meetings, your team meetings, such that it works for everyone's schedule. Now, it might mean it's a little bit reaching for everyone on the team. If you got folks joining in from Asia, you've got folks joining in from the States, maybe Australia, Australia, but strive to find that time that's a compromise for everyone on the team. The last thing that you want to do is fall into the pitfall or that barrier, setting a weekly or regular drumbeat meeting that works great for people in the States, but it's just a pain for those in Asia or Australia or other places around the world. Another barrier that honestly I face quite often in the work that I lead is the language barrier, especially when we're using technology platforms like Zoom, like Microsoft Teams, and you're in video conferencing. They're now having features within these platforms that incorporate subtitling. This is very powerful and can help you overcome that language barrier and help those employees who perhaps English is a second language to keep up with the pace of the conversation. So ensure you're integrating those facets, those tools, as you're in these video conferencing meetings. And one of the other barriers that I face often, especially in keynote engagements and really working to authentically connect with those from different cultures, is different humor, right? How my humor won't necessarily land with those from a different culture, as well as mnemonics that I might use to help folks remember the content. Mnemonics that are very relevant for here in the States, but not so much for those in different regions around the world. So for example, with Change Enthusiasm, the mindset, the growth mindset that I teach around the world, the mnemonic that I use to help individuals grasp the 3 steps is a traffic light, right? The red light, the yellow light, and the green light. Well, when I'm talking about this in the UK, I'm talking about the red light, the amber light, and the green light. When I'm talking about this in Asia, I talk about a blue light instead of the green light. So I've really had to do some education and understanding what do traffic symbols, what do traffic lights look like around the world. And I have to change my slide deck and change the way that I talk about it such that it's relevant for those in that region. And so I often like to find individuals that can help coach me on the culture within that particular region. And perhaps that's an individual that you've come to know, that you've really grown a really good connection with, that can help you. Listen, if I make a joke, if I say something that I think is hilarious, but it doesn't make any sense to you, please hold me accountable. Let me know when things don't land, because I'm really striving to learn how to make sure that my language, the things that I'm saying are actually resonant, not just for people in my culture, but other cultures as well. Action number 4, stay curious, appreciate, and celebrate differences. This is perhaps the action that will take you the furthest in creating lifelong, meaningful connections. Leverage the power of curiosity. Curious not to judge, but rather to learn. Really allow yourself to get curious about that individual, how they grew up, where they come from, what matters most to them, and why. The more that you can get curious to understand where that individual is coming from, and then show an appreciation for their sharing themselves fully and authentically, that's going to create that meaningful connection. Just think about a time when someone that you've just met, maybe from a different country or a different culture, ask you questions about where you come from. Really curious to understand, wow, what makes you tick? What do you like to celebrate? Tell me about your family. That makes you feel really good, right? Because they're striving to understand you, your authentic self. So when you can leverage that curiosity to really just understand where they come from and then celebrate them and the learning that you get from their culture, that really is going to help boost that meaningful connection. And not only will you have a great working relationship, but that will likely transcend into a friendship even outside of the office or outside of the business. So if you got value from that, I've got something else for you before you leave, and it's totally for free. So as you think about learning of different cultures, as you think about these nuances in the workplace of having to connect with individuals from different cultures, for a lot of us, that's a change, right? A change that we have to become more accustomed to. Well, I actually want to gift you a free chapter from my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm: How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. This chapter is going to introduce that growth mindset of change enthusiasm. That anxiety, that fear that you might be feeling as it relates to connecting with someone that you don't know anything about their culture, this mindset is going to help you lean into that and really elevate that meaningful connection that's possible within that individual. And it's yours today for free. All you got to do is click on the link below in the show notes. I want to make sure that you have the content, the research, and the data to fuel your growth through even your toughest change challenges. I'm Cassandra Worthy, and until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking.